Just right off the bat, get your thoughts on the quarterback battle right now between Zevi and John.
Yeah, both guys showing up every single day. Both, stood out in different times of these first 6 days. But the thing that I think stood out between both of them the entire time is the competition and the mutual respect for each other. It's one thing they're getting excited for each other, which I think is the mark of great competition and great team play, right? I sat them both down right before fall camp and I said, hey, we know what the deal is. The best player's going to play. But I said, you two are going to be each other's biggest fans. I was like, whether you don't like each other, that's fine, which I think they like each other. Let me get that clear, all right? But I was like, whether y'all like each other or not, y'all are gonna support each other because that's what's best for this offense and this team ultimately. And so really, really proud of both of them. Again, they've just shown up every day, came to work every day, and executed really well at a lot of things.
Do you have kind of a date or an idea of when you want to make that decision by?
Coach Dicker will let y'all in on that. We kind of have something in mind, but I'm going to let him speak to that.
I want to ask you about Jackson and Evans kind of battling for that number 3 spot.
Yeah.
It kind of seems like, at least in my eyes, Evans a little more willing to go downfield. He's got the big arm. Mm-hmm. Jackson's been really precise. Mm-hmm. Where do you kind of see those two working, and maybe kind of what you've seen out of both of them?
Yeah, I think both of those guys, I'm not going to say maybe as a whole for the entire offense, but definitely for our QB room, most improved. I mean, by far, both of them were challenged heavily at the beginning of fall camp, and from everything I've seen, they both responded really well. I think Jackson throughout fall camp has the highest completion percentage throughout fall camp, and it's probably by 2 or 3%, which is a lot considering the amount of passes we have. And so he's really honed in on his assignment, his footwork, and where he needs to go with the ball and his eyes. And then Evans' growth from the spring to now has just been fantastic. If everybody remembers, he didn't play his senior year of high school, right? So the way I look at it is the spring ball and this fall camp and going into this going into this season is a senior year of high school, right? And so just seeing the strides that he's making is super encouraging, because the talent pops, right? Arm talent, absolutely. He runs like a gazelle out there. I mean, he's a very fluid athlete and he's a willing learner. So both of those guys, I'm just extremely proud of their development and how far they've come, especially through these first 6 days.
With John and Zevi, I know for Coach Sicker, ball security maybe turnovers was like a big part of the criteria for him. As far as that goes, what are you seeing out of John and Zevi so far? Yeah,
I think through the first 4 practices, I think maybe both of them had 2 combined, with both of them. These last 2 days, been a lot of pass under pressure, third down stuff and red zone area where it's, everything gets a little bit tighter and everything. And so you've kind of seen the throw into the other team just increase a little. But again, like I said in the spring, it's all learns, right? Hey, you can't do that, man. Hey, you got to be able to see this. And that way we can get it out of the way here and they can just grow and develop here. That way whenever we get out onto Giesa Field, that game 1, boom, we're hitting on all cylinders. But, interceptions in my eyes are always inexcusable, without a doubt. But I'd much rather it happen out here on Rogers than on Giesa, so.
What other kind of qualities and kind of criteria are you kind of looking for, with those guys?
Yeah, I told them both. I didn't meet with them individually when I met with them at the same time. I said, I'm going to hold y'all to a standard of being a leader to the masses, right? And I think they've both responded well to that and answered the call to that, honestly. You hear them getting on guys at the right time, not the wrong time, at the right time, about the right things. You hear them encouraging not only each other, but different positions on the field, and not just offensive positions, the defensive positions, right? So I think just holding them to a standard of being a leader to the masses is an incredible quality that they're both developing, and I think doing a really good job at. And as far as the physical stuff, being able to move around with the ball, great accuracy, everything like that, anticipation. But the biggest thing is all the intangible parts that come to playing quarterback because they're both insanely talented. So.
Obviously, John has been here for a couple of years playing as a backup.
Yeah.
Are you able to tell that he has a deeper understanding, of the playbook, or do you feel like Zevi's kind of right there with him?
Yeah, no, definitely off the jump, yeah, John for sure. Just the years that he has in it, because there was some carryover from before I got here to now, a little bit of carryover, and then just the increasing knowledge that he builds over time. Because the great thing about John, and I think a lot of great quarterbacks do, is every time you reinstall right? Find a different way to learn it. Hey, you may already know it. Find a different way to learn it. Hey, why is coach calling this? Okay, what does coach like this against? Okay, what do I like this against? So I think there's always different levels you can go to learning an offense and learning the procedures of everything. And so he's been great with that. And Zevy's one of the fastest learners I've ever seen, if I'm being honest. I think it was like within a month and a half of him being here, I think he could have gone into a game and you wouldn't have worried about anything, right? And so now he's at that developmental stage where he's learning to get better with everything too. And I think that comes with being the savvy vet that he kind of is, being a 3-year starter. He knows the deal. He knows the process. He knows what it takes in order to get on the field. And so both of those guys just incredible in the meeting room, and it carries over to the field.
I talked about John and Zevy talking to guys about the right things at the right time.
Yeah.
Is there a particular instance that sticks out, like where that really shined?
Yeah, yesterday actually we were in routes on air, and Evans threw a really, really bad ball, and I heard Zevy look over at him. No, it was John look over at him and say, "Dude, you've got to be kidding me. This is routes on air. Like, our receivers aren't running for nothing. Put the ball on them, use your footwork, and let's go," right? And then later on, just in our position group from what I'm talking, we were doing a drill, and 2 of our young quarterbacks went last, and they both did it wrong. And Zevy said, "Look, man, we had 4 guys go ahead of you. Either you're not paying attention or you don't care. Like, which one is it? And you better figure both of them out," right? So just from a position base, I loved seeing that. I loved hearing that, because that's just going to lead to development of those younger guys. And, with the receivers and the offensive line and everything, a lot more with the O-line, it's just straight encouragement. Like, those guys have been awesome. They're busting their butt. They have the hardest jobs on the field, right? But with the receivers, hey, if they bust a route or drop a ball, it's not scolding them. It's, hey, I need you to make that play. We need you to make that play. Come on, you've got to do this. If you want to be on the field, you've got to do this. And so that is something that I just love hearing whenever I'm on the sideline, because I can hear all the chirps and stuff from out there. So just examples like that. So, yeah.
And so Trey and Kyle Maxwell obviously getting here in the spring.
Yeah.
How have you seen them kind of fit into the offense, especially if some other opportunities coming up with Carlos being out for a bit?
Yeah, I think their opportunities are what they want to make them, right? Because, hate what happened to Carlos, but I think it does open the door for a lot of big competition to be had. And both of those guys, the last 2 days, Max didn't go today, but he went yesterday, made a lot of big time catches, which was great to see. Even took a big hit at practice and popped up, so I think that was really good for his mentals. But T-Shack is a guy, last 6 practices, just shown up every single day, and so I love that the competition that they have there. And also, BG, he's been making plays and being really consistent, and so he's elevating himself into that conversation of a guy that we can depend on.
Just like looking at the red zone drills that you guys did out here, I know you got 3rd down and 2 minute this week as well. What have you seen so far from the offense, likes, dislikes?
Yeah, no, I think they're all different situations that we got to be put into. We got 2 minute coming in tomorrow, but as far as that red zone period, I think it's just good to get a whole bunch of learns in, right? Learns of where we're at on the field, what we need to get to. What our goal is always to put the ball in the end zone, but for the quarterback, as far as, hey, anticipatory throws, things happen a little bit quicker, maybe the rush comes a little bit faster. So it's all just kind of situational learning at that point, so we can become situational masters of stuff. And same thing with 3rd down yesterday. It was so great for our offensive line to see pressures and everything, quarterbacks to see hots and all that good stuff. So it's all situations that we have to be ready for in every single game, and it's been great work.
And just over the summer and now into fall camp, how have you seen Kyle Williams kind of grow as a leader of that wide receiver room, especially being the guy with the most experience? Yeah,
I think where K-Dub has kind of grown as a leader the most is whenever things get hard, he's the one talking the most. He's the one encouraging the most. He's the one getting guys ready to go, right? And I think K-Dub would tell you maybe in his past, I don't know if he would have done that, but he's doing it this year, right? We've told K-Dub, hey, you can't afford to have a down day, right? The room goes as you go, and he's responded to that call really, really well. So I'm encouraged because I believe he's going to keep it up, and, very, very happy with him.